like just now? Okay. All right. Hello, beautiful Golden Acre quilting community. We have no idea what the start of tonight's video is going to look like. It's always an adventure to join us on Tuesday night. So isn't that wonderful? In case you didn't hear it, my name is Louisa Grindle, and my iPad is still talking. Okay, so I own Golden Acre Quilting, located here in Claremont, New Hampshire, alongside my husband, Darren Gwindle, who is our long arm quilter. We have fabric, thread, notions, patterns, classes, events, long arm quilting services, sewing machine repair services, and most of all, we pride ourselves on how we make people feel when they come to see us here, which is like family, the good family, not the family you don't want to go visit in the next couple of weeks. We adore our growing community, and we cherish the time that you spend with us, either in the shop or here on our YouTube channel. Whether you're watching live or later, we appreciate you. While you're here, please remember to like our videos, share our videos, and subscribe to our growing channel. It helps us get the word out about how awesome it is to come be here and visit us at Golden Acre Quilting. Tonight's question, we ask one every week, and you get the chance to win the sample that we make on each week's broadcast by answering the question in the live chat. That's one of the benefits of watching live, is a chance to win that sample. So tonight's question came about because of last week's broadcast. And the question is, do you have in your circle of friends or family words or phrases that are away from the typical, or that there's some contention about, if you will, whether it's a sideboard or a counter, whether it's a dooryard or a driveway? Are there little small mini battles or jokes in your family about things like that? Is it called the heel of the bread or the end of the bread? What goes on in your circle of people with that play of words and different labels for things? And sometimes we just say doohickey or thingamabob, so that works too. But by answering that question in the live chat, you'll have an opportunity to win the 2 cheater dish drying mats that we've made on tonight's broadcast, which were inspired by our one and only quilt father. Thank you, John, for another fun project to complete here on our YouTube channel. We're going to talk a little bit. We've only got a couple new fabrics this week, but we're going to talk about them. And I think we're ready to go to overhead. Aren't I fun? I'm okay. You got it, Is? Okay. So this fabric line with the little teacups and cocoa cups and snowflakes and reindeers, this came in between last week's broadcast and this week's. And these we selected to make into a half-pack quilts bundle. In case you're not familiar with our half-pack quilts bundles, they are 5 half-yard cuts that we curate from fabric in our shop, and then you get to choose from one of 9 quilt patterns or a tote bag, the tippy tote. And they are designed to inspire. The quilt projects are super quick and super friendly. The tippy tote, if you're going to do a lot of quilting, gets a little bit longer, but still really fun. It's Tina's favorite bag now, so that's awesome. So this is primarily the new half pack quilt. These fabrics from this line also came in, but these were the ones that we chose to put into the bundle. We also have this new half pack bundle in the shop. Christmassy, fun. It's got little toys on the green, little birds and holly on the red, stars on the red and white, and Christmas Carol lyrics on the red fabric there. And I think we got one snuck in here that we had here last week, but we'll show it again because it's just in time for this holiday. It's a Teresa Kogut, and it has sort of more of a primitive look to it with stars and the reindeer and the Santas and the houses in the church. So another bundle that's new here in the shop. And let's see. Yeah, we had the wow, rain, stop. We had the discussion about chop suey and goulash here in the shop this week. I saw that come through. What other cool combos have come through so far, Izzy? Oh, porch and piazza. Okay. All right. Oh, stuffing and dressing. Yep. Sprinkles, Jimmy's, you know, that reminds me of another one. Spaghetti sauce versus gravy. All right, all right. So let's get into our classes. At the end of talking about our classes here, we're going to post the calendar for January, a picture of the calendar for January, so that you can take a screenshot in case you want to remember all the things that I talked about. But we've also put a link to the calendar in the description of this week's video to make it easier for folks to find the classes that we talk about. And so we have 12 months of gifts. December is our last one for this year. This is a series of classes that we've had all year long, and we're going to repeat again next year, where we find projects that can be completed in the 3-hour class, and they're very repeatable and very giftable in an effort to help us avoid that last-minute panic of, I was going to make homemade Christmas presents for everybody and nothing's done. So we're trying to encourage people to stay engaged with that homemade Christmas present production every month. And this month, December, which is Thursday, so Thursday, December 12th, this class, it makes a bag out of fabric that's very similar in structure to the t-shirt plastic bags that you get in grocery stores. In fact, the t-shirt plastic bag is the template that we use to make this. So it's lined and it kind of bumps out at the side there so you get more room, but it stores flat and rolls up nicely if you wanted to tuck it into your glove compartment or somewhere to have a bag handy in case you're like me and you have 150 reusable grocery bags that you forget every time you go into the grocery store. So if this one was in your glove compartment, then you'd have one. Also great for a gift bag if you wanted to put another gift inside of this bag. So that's December 12th. We are offering that at 10:30 and 4:30. That's this Thursday, and there's still room in both sessions. So come on over, play with us in 12 months of gifts. And we have an open sew on Thursday, December 19th. Open sews are come, work at your own pace, work on your own project, get a few tips and tricks, but mostly spend some social time doing the thing that we love to do, which is sewing and crafting. And then we have Calico Cats. So Izzy will hopefully be ready to put up the picture of Calico Cats for us. Calico Cats is the series that we're doing with Anne Blackburn. I saw that Anne's on here. Hi, Anne. Thank you so much for teaching this series for us. We had a lot of fun with the All Wrapped Up 2.0. We just couldn't leave it hanging with just dog people. We have to talk to the cat people too. So we've got Calico Cats coming up in January. It's a 3-Wednesday series. And Anne and I love to serve lunch during those classes. There are some folks already signed up, but there are still some spots left. So if you're one of our cat people and you'd love to join us for Calico Cats, make sure you get registered while there are spots open. And then Moda Love, Lynn Simino is teaching this class for us again. We had a blast when she taught it this year for us, so we decided to start next year off with another round. This is a pattern from Moda that's designed to use pre-cuts, but 3 different sizes. This is the size that's made with the charm packs, or the 5-inch squares. So a pack of 5-inch squares, some background fabric, and a border fabric. There's also one that finishes at 12 inches square from the 2.5-inch, the mini charm packs. And there's also one that finishes about 72 by 72 with a layer cake. So if you're signing up for the Moda Love class, you get to choose which size you want to make. Do you have a baby shower coming up or a table topper you're trying to make that the charm pack size would be perfect? Do you want a little wall hanging or something giftable for a hostess coming up? Then the 12-inch square with the mini charms would be perfect. Or are you trying to make a new quilt for a bed? That layer cake 72 by 72 square will be perfect for you. So you get to choose which size you want to make, and then the technique is the same, and Lynn will get you through it with lots of laughs and wonderfulness. When Lynn Simino's in the class, we always have fun. So that is Moda Love. Now we're going to talk about Hollow Star. We've done this one before too, but we get a lot of feedback that people enjoyed it and that people want to repeat it. So this is the Hollow Star table runner, and it needs a haircut. Wow. Okay. Anyways, the Hollow Star table runner is a cut loose press pattern. It's done with a 60-degree triangle ruler. It looks way more complicated than it is. I'm teaching this class. It's a 2-day class so that we can make sure that we can go at a comfortable pace and have it all the way finished, including either some quilt as you go or some, not quilted to go, stitch in the ditch quilting, or maybe even some crosshatch quilting. But I want people to be able to leave with a completed bound table runner. So that class is 2 days coming up in January. But it's the Hollow Star table runner. This is it done with some pinks and grays and purples. We have some other samples in the shop done with some of the shop hop fabric, some fall fabric, some Christmas fabric. Really anything you choose makes a pretty table runner. Last year when Dee came to visit from Virginia, she has a really, really long island in her kitchen. So she doubled it and made it with 5 stars instead of just the 3. So there were 2 more stars over here, and that was wonderful. She did it with some really great bright tulip pink fabrics. So there's some versatility and option and choice in this as well. Oh, I see the hoagies from Philly. Yes, Shelly. Hoagies versus submarines. Oh, it gets better, Izzy? Tell me, what's going on?
What started was
You either have to speak up or tell me where to look. A jelly stick versus a cruller. I see that one. Oh, yeah. Milkshake versus frappe or frap. Yep. Soda versus pop or tonic. Okay.
and with subs we have
Heroes, grinders, subs.
we have in East Boston for
Spunkies from East Boston. You know, I have so much to learn from my community. It's such a beautiful thing. Thank you all for your wonderful contributions to our question of the week. That's so much fun. All right, so Moda Love, Hollow Star. Where are we? Oh, Izzy, why don't you put up the apron class? So we're working on another date for another apron class, but while the shop was closed on December 1st, we had two folks come and participate in the apron class. These are their finished aprons, if the picture is up. Wonderful. So these are their finished aprons that they completed. One of them with fabric from outside our shop, one of them fabric inside our shop. But it doesn't matter to us whether it comes from here or it comes from somewhere else, as long as you're having fun in the class and enjoying. So these two finished their aprons. They did a great job. We're so thankful that Lynn Lagasse is teaching for us, and we will get another apron class on the calendar soon. Speaking of Lynn, she is going to be teaching the Mondo and Midi bags, which are a really fun pre-printed interfacing base that you lay pre-cut squares, or you can cut your own 2.5-inch squares onto the interfacing, and there's a technique built in that just makes your points line up really precisely and makes these fabulous bags. This is another class that you get to choose whether you want to make the larger bag or the smaller bag. It's a 1-day class, and it is with Lynn Lagasse, who is just so tender and gentle and wonderful with beginners and with people who are really looking to build their skills. And we love having her in the classroom. So thank you, Lynn, for teaching the Mondo and Midi, and hopefully we'll get another apron class on the calendar with you soon. We also have Bali Love Song on the calendar for January. Bali Love Song is a log cabin, but the way you lay the fabrics, it makes some hearts in the middle. We thought this would be a great one to get done before Valentine's Day. The sample that we have in the photo is very soft pastel colors. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. I made one last year with big, bold rainbow colors and a black background, but you could do it with all kinds of pinks and reds and creams and whites for Valentine's Day. And it's really about the fabric placement that makes those hearts appear in the middle of the log cabin. And then they're set on point, which I think is fun. Because it really gives the quilt an extra little zhuzh and wonderfulness. So I love that. So we've got Bali Love Song, she gnomes. It's time to talk about she gnomes. I won't review my whole, I won't review my whole fangirl moment when Paula came in and I finally got to meet her. But these are the adorable gnomes. This is the size gnome that you'll get to make. This is the style gnome you'll get to make. And these are going to be on January 14th and January 18th. The 14th is already halfway full. So if that's the day that you'll be able to come make a gnome with us, make sure that you get registered soon. Again, the link for the calendar, which is all linked for registration, is in the description of the video. Let's talk about pillowcase next, yeah? Okay. So the pillowcase classes continue to be a wonderful success. We had our youngest pillowcase club member yet She is 9 and she's part of the extended Golden Anchor family. She is the granddaughter of Geneva, who is our wonderful master zhuzher. She makes everything beautiful out at the front of the shop. And she came and made her first pillowcase, and I think we may have talked her into coming for all-inclusive Learn to Quilt. I'm so excited about that, to be able to teach such a youngster to get involved in fiber arts so early. We also had a very beginner, Sharon, who, just got her first sewing machine and is super excited about that. We were able to teach her how to use the sewing machine and make her pillowcase. And Ish is also there with her pillowcase, and she is about to graduate from All Inclusive Learn to Quilt on Wednesday, the 18th. Let's put the All Inclusive Learn to Quilt photo up. So these are the tops. They're not quilted yet. We'll show you when they're all done, I promise. But these are the quilt tops for our all-inclusive Learn to Quilt students. You can see how different they are, but how beautiful they are. We've used the Sassy Sunflower Half Pack Quilts program pattern called Picnic Basket for our all-inclusive Learn to Quilt series. We're running another one starting January 12th. It'll be on Sundays from 12 to 3. The all-inclusive name is because it includes everything from soup to nuts, stem to stern, however you want to explain it. There's no additional purchase necessary. It's just the $249 for 6 weeks of instruction, and everything from here's how to use a sewing machine to here's how to bind your first quilt. It is done and ready to enjoy at the end of the class. Everything is included. It's one of our favorite classes to run. It's just, we get to see people blossom into quilters, and we absolutely cherish the moments we spend with them. So Sundays in January and February from 12 to 3. I think there are still 3 spots available in that series. So if that's something that you're interested in, or you know someone who might be interested in. Last week we had a wonderful thing happen. We talked about all-inclusive Learn to Quilt in the series coming up, and while we were live, someone registered for it. It just made me smile. I'm so excited. It's awesome. Did we miss anything? Never give up. So there's going to be a Never Give Up Day in January, which is a day planned. It's an open sew with a purpose, basically. It's come in with those projects that you kind of tossed in the corner for timeout, in case you need some inspiration, some problem solving, some troubleshooting, but bring in the projects that you'd like to work on. So that's our Never Give Up Day. That's on January 29th. And open sews will be back on Thursdays starting on January 2nd. So right after the new year, if your New Year's resolution is to get some projects done, stop in and join us for open sew. Next year, we're going to have a new program for open sew where you get a punch card, and for every 5 open sews you attend, you get to come for your 6th for free, to just help people feel rewarded for the loyalty of coming back and creating that social atmosphere that we love so much on open sew days. I think that's it for classes, which means we're just about ready to step into our demonstration. Are there any comments or anything fun going? Do we have any more names for Hoagies or submarines or heroes or Spuckies? Where they go? Packy. Oh, that's one I haven't heard in a bit. I think since I lived in Pennsylvania. Oh, yes. Thank you. So before we get into the demo, if he's going to pop that picture of the calendar up, and I will let it be up there long enough for folks to grab a screenshot in case they want it. Like I said, the link is also in the description to scoot right over to our website and look at the calendar. It'll bring you to January's calendar, but there are also back and next buttons on the top of the calendar page so that folks can travel among the months there and register for what they want to do. We good? Okay. All right. So, are we ready? Izzy's biting her nail. What's, oh, the camera's glitching, or? It's okay. We'll keep going. We'll hope that when the recording goes out, it doesn't buffer as much. We're just gonna. Oh yes, Quilt of Valor. So, thank you, Anne, for the reminder. We do have in March the Quilt of Valor event. We've got space at the White River Junction VA Hospital for 50 sewers and 50 helpers The registration is open for both. Both of them do have a wait list available, so if they fill up, you can still sign up and be on the wait list, but there's no guarantee from the wait list up to registration. It's open and it's starting to fill up, so we're excited about that. It's going to be 3 days where you can leave your stuff set up at the VA there. We'll be together, we'll have lots of fun. We're treating it like a retreat, and we're still looking for corporate sponsorship for meals and donated fabric, and we're still also accepting donated fabric. And at some point, we're going to have enough donated fabric that we start asking for volunteers to come in and help us to start get kits cut up and ready so that we can sew as many quilt tops as possible during the event itself. And then we're gonna get them all long-armed through hopefully a group of long-arm volunteers, and then we're gonna come back together and get them bound, and then have a big presentation of the quilts at the Way Over Junction VA sometime in the late summer. So all of that is in the works in the background. All right, demo time, and hopefully we're not freezing too much at this point. So the Quiltfather, John, called me and said, I think I've got a great YouTube tutorial for you. He said, it's these dish drying mats, but they're pretty. And it starts with dish drying mat that he recommended I get over at the Dollar Tree. So for $1.25, there's a 12-inch by 18-inch dish drying mat. They had 3 colors at our local one here in Claremont. They had the navy, the gray, and the red. And you know, they're all right. They're absorptive and great for under your dishes, but they're kind of boring. So John said, well, we're just going to dress them up. We're going to make them pretty. And I figured out how to make 2 that are the opposite of each other out of 2 fat quarters with a cutting map and some instructions there. And then we used Kingstar metallic thread to do the top stitching to seal the secret place where you turn it through. So we're not going to turn through a hole on the edge like we traditionally do, because that makes a bulky, difficult moment when you're turning the dish drying mat. We're going to turn through one of the seams in the middle of the focal piece here. Also thanks to John. So thank you for that tip. And what you end up with is a quilted dish drying mat that's pretty and not boring. And you can make 2 of them, like I said, with the 2 dish drying mats and 2 fat quarters. So $8 for 2 fat quarters and $1.25 each for the 2 mats. So $10.50 in materials. And if you want to get some metallic thread, it'll do way more than just these projects. But we do have the Kingstar in all of the colors on our website. After the demo, we're going to show you the colors that we have available. So let's get started. In order to make 2 dish drying mats, you're going to need 2 of them from anywhere that you can get them reasonably priced, really. We got ours from the Dollar Tree, and they are 12 by 18 inches. And the cutting instructions that I created for this are designed to fit on a 12 by 18 dish mat like that one. What I did for cutting, I'm a stack and whack girl. I will lay as many layers of fabric under my rotary blade as humanly possible and cut to save time. So you could cut these separately if you're a 1-layer cutter. I'm a stack and whacker, so I put both of my fat quarters down on my cutting mat and put the 18-inch side away from me like this and the 21-inch side across horizontal like this. I cut a 12.5-inch piece off the whole 18-inch side and then subcut that into a 12.5 by 6.5 piece, which is going to be your focal fabric. That'll be your big piece in the center. And then 2 12.5 by 3.25 pieces that are going to be the borders that go on here and here, top and bottom, like that. And then a third 12.5 by 3.25 piece off of this initial 12.5 cut. But that one gets trimmed down to 12 by 3.25 to be your side border over here. And then one little extra 12 by 3.25 off the leftover part of the fat quarters. A note of caution, if one of your fabrics is directional, these borders are going to end up being, one of them will be not in the same direction, or you might want to just cut the 2 12.5 by 3.25 out of that directional fat quarter and then cut your 2 12.5 by 3.25 out of this section over here. so that you end up with your borders in the right direction if it's a directional fabric. So you don't need to buy extra fabric if it's directional. You just need to alter your cutting a little bit for your second piece where the focus becomes the border and the focus becomes the border. So if one of them's directional, just change your back border cutting for that one ever so slightly to make sure that those directions stay true over the course of construction. All right. So once you've got everything cut and you've got your dish mat out of the packaging, you're going to come over to your sewing and start constructing. I didn't worry too much about the color for piecing because all of that gets hidden. And then like I said, I used the King Star to do the quilting and the top stitching because I think metallics just add such a fun element. And the King Star thread works so beautifully in machines and doesn't require any kind of really significant special adaptation to work and do its job other than a thread stand, making sure it's coming off vertically. So I used a 1/4 inch seam to construct all of that, and I forgot to bring the 1/4 inch foot in. So I'm going to move my needle over a little bit. So this is a little trick. If you don't have a 1/4 inch foot on your machine and you're wanting to make sure that you do a 1/4 inch seam, you can line your ruler up at a 1/4 inch next to your fabric and on your fabric and next to your presser foot, and then get your presser foot edge lined up with that 1/4 inch mark on the ruler, and then use your needle position to get as close as you can to the edge of that 1/4 inch ruler. So I think we're in a good spot there for a 1/4 inch seam. Adapt, right? We're just gonna drop back and punt, as we say so often here. All right, so I'm going to use the edge of my foot now for my 1/4 inch seam because I've made sure that I'm as close as I can be to that. Little bit of back stitching just to tack that. And this first border, we're going to put all the way on. So we're going to go straight across all the way. Back stitch just a smidge there and cut our thread. The second border is where we create the opportunity for turning through the seam, which is a little bit of magic that makes everything look neater when you're done. So you're going to line up like you're going to stitch that border all the way across and do some back stitching right at the beginning. And then you're going to sew maybe 1/3 of the way down and then back stitch to secure that. Cut your thread. Skip a chunk of the border, come down, start again with a little bit of back stitching to secure for when you're turning through there, and then to the end with some back stitching there. And then my grandmother used to always tell me that if I was going to sew things together, not to sew them together until they were pressed. So, you don't sew across an unpressed seam with another piece of fabric. So we're going to press these. And that's something we talk a lot about in our all-inclusive Learn to Quilt series is pressing versus ironing. That we want to press versus dragging across and ironing. And that's because fabric has bias, and that bias will shift and create wonk in your project if you're not careful. So this one, because we left part of this seam open, we're going to be really pressy about versus iron. And you'll see when it's pressed like that, it looks like the seam was stitched underneath. Yeah. Oh, we will. Let me finish the demo and then remind me to show off the coat. Okay, thank you. All right, so now we've pressed those, and this is our little secret pocket, okay? But we've got it pressed nicely like it's all stitched and ready to go. And then these are our pieces that we cut to 12 inches, although it looks like my little 1/4 inch guess may have been a little bit off. because I've got a little bit of extra laying there, but that's okay. We can trim that off later. No worries. So we're just going to sew the side border on. Again, just a little bit of back stitching at the start and keeping everything lined up. Any new pairs of words or unusualness? Okay, so parkways in New York, where commercial folks are not allowed. So is that like an interstate or like a state highway here in New Hampshire? What's the other word for that? Oh, yep, freaking amazing, very wicked. Yeah, and there's the whole fat with a PH that just confuses me, but I think I may have grabbed one of the 12.5 inch pieces from the other set of this fabric rather than one of the 12-inch pieces. But it's really okay. We're gonna work right through that. So then when you've got all of your borders on with the one that's sort of left kind of open, then with pressing, everything okay? Oh, okay, I know. Izzy's like cameras, and she's doing our wheel of names for folks who are answering the question, and she's answering all of my questions. Doing a great job. So we've got this pressed, and the measurements and cutting that we set up for this are measurements to relate to a 12 by 18 dish mat. If you were going to make a bigger one, give us a call. If you have a dish mat you're trying to cover and you need help figuring out your quilt math, we're pretty good at quilt math. So give us a call and we'll help you figure that out, what you need to make a different size dish drying mat. And you can see that's sort of hanging over there. That's okay. We're going to lay it right side down on our dish drying mat. And then I'm going to bring the needle back to center for this part because on the samples that I made, I found the distance of the needle from the edge of the end foot to be a great flipping distance because the edge of the dish drying mat is kind of bulky and surged, but I didn't feel like cutting it off. Oh, and the other thing, if your dish drying mat has a tag on it, go ahead and lay your fabric right side down on the side that doesn't have the tag, because then when you flip it through that open border, the tag will get tucked in and no one will know that you started with a commercial dish drying mat. All right. So we're not going to leave an opening in this outer part, which was a little bit of a mind bend for me. We're just going to stitch all the way around because we've got that magic opening in our border around our focus fabric. You could make these even more spectacular or complicated, I guess, if you would, by using other quilt blocks and building them out to the size of your dish drying mat. It doesn't just have to be the focus fabric with borders. It really could be anything. This could be something you do to use up orphan blocks. If you've been quilting for more than a few weeks, you probably have some orphan blocks in your stash where you've made them or started a project or didn't end up using them all or tested something out and didn't really care for it for the project you were working on. But orphan blocks could be revived in a project like this. This could be scrappy. It doesn't have to be fully coordinated. Just a lot of options and a lot of ways that you could make this your own. I think I need to go one more stitch. I'm a little bit not quite out to the edge there. Okay, there I am at the edge. And we're sewing all the way around. While I sew, are there any more fun words that are outside the usual? I think people are having fun with this one. Okay, so there's lots of places where people use the same. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, like get out of here, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pass and fetch. All right. Oh, Izzy, fetch me some scissors. I no wait, I have some. I have some in my little drawer. It's okay. I'll be all right. Okay. So we're gonna trim off the corners. Oh yes, the ornament party was a blast. I forgot to send Izzy a picture of that. It was so much fun to have people share the stories of their ornaments. Oh, but Izzy, go to the counter in the classroom. I won't ask you to change cameras while you're doing that. So go, and there's boxes, and one of them, any of those boxes has one set of the ornaments. We could share those. That would be fun. Thank you for the reminder. So while Izzy's gone, I can't change cameras. I have to stay right here. All right, so I've just clipped the corners to make turning easier. Thank you, sweetheart. And, you know, normally when you've got something stitched like this, right sides together, you'd be looking for an opening somewhere along the edge to flip through. But we're gonna flip through right here. So cool. And then you don't have to mess with lining up the 1/4 inch seams at the outside and all of that business. So that was such a great tip. Thank you, John. And you know, if others of you have things that you think would make cool tutorials, feel free to share. We've had one from Terry, we've had a couple from John now. We're excited when our community says, "Oh, make this, make this." So if you find things that you think it would be fun for us to test out here, we need approximately 52 ideas for next year. So start flowing. Kristen's from Texas. We say y'all. Oh, I saw earlier in the chat, I think it was Jean who said she used to work with someone who said yuz. That I knew people who said that when I was in Pennsylvania. They say yuz instead of, or they say like yuz guys instead of you or you all. Um, so I'm just poking out the corners kind of with my fingers, and then I'll go back in and do a little bit more with a turning tool. Turning tool is a very loose term. Could be a pen. That's what it's going to be tonight because we couldn't find the one for the classroom. Knitting needles work a little bit bulkier knitting needle versus the tiny ones for knitting socks because you don't want to poke through your corner. But it just, you know, really brings the corners out nicely when you use one of those. So now we've turned it through that border. And once we press this and top stitch the edges, this is going to line back up just like that. And then we'll do some decorative stitching over that focus border. You will never know that you turned it through the border, and it will be absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to bring up the thread stand because that is the one adaptation that metallic thread, the King Star, needs. And we're going to use a gold on this, maybe. Oh, I don't know. Should we look at the colors? We'll look at the colors and we'll let everybody choose. So these are the colors of King Star. There are many, many colors of King Star, and we have them here at the shop. Can we see all of the colors is, or should I move the mat at all? Okay, you can see them. And if there's a color that you just absolutely want to learn more about, let us know. We can tell you what the letter is. Actually, we can probably turn them right side up. Can they see the colors if I turn the spools right side up? Not really. It's better when they're lying down. If you squint, okay, says the girl who needs her glasses updated. All right, so you can see there's lots of colors of the King Star metallic, and they are fabulous. And I've got the gold open, so rather than taking away the opportunity for someone in the community to own any one of these, we'll just go ahead and use the gold, I think. Goes with gold. All right, all right. So we're gonna put it. Oh, this is another little teaching moment that we can have. So thread, in general, when it is wrapped in a straight way, I think we've talked about this on our channel before, but when your spool of thread is wrapped, do I have any straight wrap? There are some spools of thread where on the wrap of the thread, there, which camera are we on? Overhead? Can you go to the little sewing one? Perfect. So when thread is cross wrapped, like this one is, it's designed to come off the top of the spool rather than coming off the side and spinning like this. So it's designed for the thread to kind of come off the top like that. King Star is a little bit of an exception, but it's because of how metallic thread behaves. So King Star is round, very straight. There's no crisscross in the winding like there was in this one. But you still want the King Star to come off the top of the spool because of the way metallic thread behaves. So we're going to use the thread stand, and then we're going to thread our machine like usual with the metallic, and it's going to work, and it's going to be so beautiful. I've tried a few other metallic thread brands because, you know, as we know, I'm quite a sparkly girl, and I love sparkle in everything I do. So why wouldn't I love it in thread? But I quite enjoy the metallic from Kingstar because it actually runs in the machine without an adapter, and consistently we can use it on the embroidery machines, we use it on the long arm, I use it on the regulars. So it's just a really versatile metallic thread that works really well. Can we go back to overhead for just a minute? Oh, you're awesome. Thank you. So for pressing this, you could press from the back where you've got your dish mat, but I found it to be better to press on the front because then I could see whether I was lining up that border, that magic spot. And so we just, you know, just giving it the ability to kind of tuck down while we quilt it so that it's not going to fight us as much. I think my iron cooled off a little bit because it's cordless, and I think I forgot to get it all the way in the base. But you can see as I'm pressing, some of that sort of bowl-like structure that was happening is calming down. And I thought about, you know, whether I could put a double-sided fusible on the back of the fabric here, like maybe a Wonder Under or any other double-sided lightweight fusible, just so that when you did this pressing it would secure. But I was really kind of scared. Oh yes, John, thank you. Not the back. It might be polyester and you might melt it with your iron. Awesome tip. Thanks for the reminder. So it wasn't just about the bowl, it's also about safety, that you press from the front. I'll have everybody melting their dish mats by Tuesday. Okay, so then with a straight stitch, I did the top stitching to settle everything around here. This is where I did pay attention to my bobbin thread. On the sample that I made, I think I used red to have it be a little bit festive back there. What I've got in the machine right now is black. I think we'll just go with it so that we can get this accomplished and ta-da, if you will. I've got the metallic thread in the top, and I'm going to lengthen my stitch to about 3.5 because I think that makes top stitching look really wonderful. Oh, do you need a special needle for metallic thread? There are some metallic threads that are finicky enough that using a needle designed for metallics is a good idea. I find that with Kingstar, I don't have to be as finicky. It has to do with the finish on the needle and the finish on the thread. And I have found that with Kingstar, I can be much more laissez-faire with my needle choice than with some of the other metallic threads that I've worked with over time. You know, watch me eat my words as this needle doesn't work. We'll find out. But I do like to lengthen my stitch length a little bit with metallics, or with top stitching like this, because I think it makes it look a little bit more handmade, I guess, even if it's not handmade. I just really like the look of longer top stitching. So I've got my length at 3.5. My needle's right in the center for this. I'm using the edge of the foot again as my guide. And in part, I'm using the same stitch width as I stitched it together with on the when I was piecing the top to the dish mat, because that puts my needle outside of the bulk where I flipped the dish mat into the center. And it looks like maybe I shouldn't have used white fabric in the borders, because you can see the tag through here. So if I was going to be really finicky, I'd go in before I seal this and trim that tag off so it's not visible through the white fabric. But it's okay. We'll be all right. Anything else going on in the chat we should check in about? Oh, Izzy's laughing. There must be. I gotta stop and look at the chat. What's going on? You having fun? Okay, all right. As long as Izzy's having fun, we're good. She comes down on Tuesdays to help with YouTube, and this week she's studying for finals. So she said, "I'll come down and help with YouTube, but can't drag me out to the front of the shop, Mom, because I've got to study for finals." And we managed to protect her from that, except for 1 hour for training that I had to go to today, and a half hour for me to get some lunch in me. So thank you, Izzy, for covering both of those in between studying for finals. We appreciate you. All right, we're almost all the way around on this. And, you know, I don't know if you noticed, but no thread breaks, no problems, metallic thread all the way around, didn't change my needle. That's just what I love about Kingstar. I think I probably should just get in here and clip that off, because it's going to make me crazy that that tag is going to show. Won't take us more than a couple seconds to do it. Most of the time I say if you can't see it from the back of a speeding horse, leave it alone. But this time I think you probably could see it from a reasonable distance. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yes. Cut the tags off, Jean. Absolutely. Yep, the labels that say, you know, only to be removed by consumer. All right, so we've got that spot where we did our magic turn. And I'm just going to pick the first decorative stitch that talks to me here. This one looks like snowflake, which kind of looks like what's going on here with those ornamental green. And all right, so that's the one we're going to use. I'm going to lengthen it a little bit to help our time and leave it at a pretty wide width. And I'm going to line the center of my end foot up. Oh, I changed my foot. So I didn't change my foot. I changed my stitch. And I try to remind people that anytime you change your stitch, check your needle position, look at where the stitch is going to send your needle, and make sure that the opening in your foot is the space that you're going to need to do the stitch. I had just talked about that with the pillowcase folks on Sunday, and then managed to change from an end foot like this over to a 1/4 inch foot, which only has an opening in the center, from decorative stitching to straight stitching, and broke a needle because I forgot my own rule. So I'm not going to forget it this time. We're going to check the needle, check the stitch. We've got a foot that's going to work for this decorative stitch. When I'm doing decorative stitches, rather than a back stitch, I like to start with a tack stitch, which this machine has. So I'm just going to hit that tack down stitch and then get us started. When you're doing decorative stitches like this, the machine is going to take the fabric and the project back and forth with the feed dogs, in and out. It doesn't really tend to move things side to side. It's going to want to pull through straight overall. But if you're here and kind of holding, or if you're like one of those pull people that you pull from the back when you're stitching, your decorative stitch is not going to be even and consistent. So, and I tend to be a little bit of an extra holder. So when I'm doing decorative stitches, I kind of try to have a loose hold, so that I just watch and make sure that the line I'm trying to follow stays at the center of the foot that I've got on the machine, but I'm not really touching the project very much, so that the machine can pull it back and forth, and it just gives you a more consistent decorative stitch. If you pull, or if you brace this, the machine's not going to be able to do the back and forth that it needs to do to get that decorative stitch as beautiful as you're going to want it. And I don't think we need to keep everybody here for the full length of time to do the decorative stitch around this whole border, because I'm hoping that people can now see how we've closed the magic spot where we created the opening to flip it through. And nobody is going to know that that's where we flipped it, because not only does it look sealed, it is sealed, and it's got that beautiful decorative stitching with the King Star metallic thread on it. Video evidence. Oh no, as he said, people are gonna know, but the people you gift it to are not gonna know, and that's the fun, right? Is that you've got that little secret about how you made your dish drying mat. So 2 back borders, 2 dish drying mats, some King Star metallic thread, and maybe a half hour of your time, and you could have 2 of these done and ready to gift. Thank you so much to the Quiltfather for that tip on this project. Keep the tips coming, and any other tips show up on what we might make on a next YouTube? Anything we should look at there? Okay. All right. So, oh, the Quiltfather said don't include him in the Wheel of Names. Okay, good. Izzy's removed you, John. No worries. You will not be winning the sample tonight. Okay. So, yes, this is, and I think we should go to overhead for this. Yeah. Oh, you're already there. You're awesome, Is. So the jacket, oh my goodness, the coat of many colors. This is what started as 84 strips of jelly roll that Mom sewed together and we held up across the shop. It was, I don't know, probably 15 feet long, maybe even more. And then it got cut into the pieces to make the jacket. And then we found this wonderful lining to put in it. And and Mom's got the sleeves hemmed and she's got the bottom hemmed. And the only thing left is to put the buttons on. So the next time Mom comes down, we're hoping she'll get the buttons on. And we're looking at a springtime class. So when the weather clears up and the days are lighter, longer, so that Mom can come down for the whole day and be here to teach this class and teach this series for us. But yes, the quilt is done. The quilted jacket. I would put it on, but Mom is smaller than me. So Izzy might fit in it. Maybe next week we'll get Izzy to do a model because we need Mom to be home before it's dark. But yes, there it is in all of its wonderful glory. She mixed 2 different jelly rolls into this and they went together just absolutely stunningly. The hood is lined. I can't wait. I'm super excited. That's why we put it in here. So I would remember to tell everybody about it. Can I reach? We'll see. Woo! I reached. Okay. Yes. Oh, that was silly that I put it there. Okay. So quilt of the week, we can go back to talk. This quilt, I thought, I convinced Darren to let me use this one this week. Oh, and the hooks fell down. We're having fun. But no, it's okay. It's okay. Leave it. It's okay. It's okay. It's good. It's good. All right. So this is our quilt of the week. And I thought it was seasonal and it is a pattern that people have asked us about when they saw it done when it was on the long arm being quilted. And it is half square or half triangle rectangles, half rectangle triangle. What is the term? So there's half square triangles. Would this be a half rectangle triangle? Half? Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to look that term up unless someone in the chat can rescue me and tell me. But it's 2 rectangles that are stitched on the diagonal and then opened up. And it looks like, I don't know. I thought it kind of looked like trees and like a mountain range or a tree line. I just thought it was perfect for today. And this was a do not trim. That's why it's got all of the extra quilting on the outside. Pizza slices. No, they're not actually called pizza slices, but this could be one of those moments where we make up a new word, right? Sideboard, counter. This could be pizza slices instead of half square rectangles, or half rectangle. I don't know what they are, but they're gorgeous. That's the point. They're absolutely beautiful, and we just loved this quilt. So that is the quilt of the week for this week. And then we have our drawing for folks who paid with cash or check. And then Wheel of Names. And we're almost done. This was kind of a long one because I thought the start to finish was important rather than just sort of talking about steps on that dish drying mat. Okay, so we're going to toss those around. I'm going to reach in and pick one out. And this week's winner is Charlene Locke. So, Charlene, you will have a $10 gift card waiting for you the next time you stop by to see us. Charlene's quilt was Quilt of the Week last week. So, that's awesome that we get to have that as well. Ooh, so the Quiltfather thinks he might know the pattern name called Tree Farm. We're going to have to look it up. I think this would be a fun class. What do we think, people? I think that might be a fun one. Because you could really make it for any season with any color and it would still be fabulous and wonderful. So maybe that'll be a class someday. Okay. Last thing, Wheel of Names. Are we ready? Okay. Who's going to do Wheel of Names for us? And the Wheel of Names is for who gets to take these two home. It's Uma! That's my mom. Uma has many names, just like the counter and goulash and submarines. She is Uma, she is Hetty, she is mom. She is wonderful, no matter what we call her. So congratulations, mom. And we will have these here when you come down on Friday. And you can maybe clear some space on your counter and have a dish drying mat. Won't that be wonderful? All right. I think that's it. We thank you so much for the time that you spent with us. We hope that you've enjoyed it. We hope that you learned something. Oh, I don't know. Well, I don't know. We don't know. We hope we're here. We're good. We're good. We hope you learned something. We hope you laughed. We hope you smiled. We hope we brought some sunshine into your life. That's really what we're about. We are obviously not about perfection. We are obviously not about professional camera angles or zooms or any of that. We really are just about community and being together and enjoying the time that we spent together. So thank you so much for the time that you spent with us. Remember to like our videos, share our videos, subscribe to our small channel, and come see us at Golden Acre Quilting, where community is the fabric of our dreams.